Let us ask the question that we guess you are thinking about. If there is supposed to be no institution, who will run the church? Surely we need some kind of a leader. How can a church function without a leader of some sort? Israel had the same philosophy when they desired a king to be over them. Paul writes concerning Jesus in Ephesians chapter 1 verses 22 and 23. And he put all things under his feet and gave him to be head over all things to the church, which is his body, the fullness of him who fills all in all.
Who is the head of the church? Christ himself, of course. Why do we even want a mere man to be the head of the church if Christ promised to be in our midst? So if there's only one shepherd over one flock, then what is the purpose of pastors and elders? Peter writes in 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 1 up to verse 4. The elders who are among you I exhort, I who am a fellow elder and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, and also a partaker of the glory that will be revealed. Shepherd the flock of God which is among you, serving as overseers, not by compulsion, but willingly, not for dishonest gain, but eagerly, nor as being lords over those entrusted to you, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory that does not fade away.
Elders are to serve by example and lead the flock to the actual shepherd, Jesus Christ. Elders don't lord the flock. That means run the church, because only Christ is the Lord over the church, and so only Christ who may run the church. Jesus had something to say to those who want to lead and serve the church. We will first read in Matthew chapter 20 verses 25 up to 28. But Jesus called them to himself and said, You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who are great exercise authority over them. Yet it shall not be so among you. But whoever desires to become the greatest among you, let him be your servant. And whoever desires to be the first among you, let him be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many.
The words of Christ are repeated this way in Luke chapter 22 verse 24 up to 27. Now there was also a dispute among them as to which of them should be considered the greatest. And he said to them, The kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and those who exercise authority over them are called benefactors. But not so among you. On the contrary, he who is the greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he who governs as he who serves. For who is greater, he who sits at the table, or he who serves? Is it not he who sits at the table? Yet I am among you as the one who serves. The question is, as people who serve the church, one is to A. Exercise lordship over the church, B. Exercise authority over the church, C. Be a slave to those who one serves.
Do those who feel they are called to be ministers of the church really understand that they are to be slaves of the church? A benefactor is one who benefits from those who he or she is in charge over, whether he or she is benefiting financially or reaching personal advancement or goals. None of these things are appropriate for those who want to serve the church. How can anyone justify today's pastor with the clear teachings of Christ?
Another attribute that a servant of the church should not have is lording over others. What does lording over others mean? Lording or exercising authority over others is when one makes decisions on behalf of others or take charge over others. Leading by example does not mean leading by dictating to others.
Let us read to you an example of an elder that was lording over the church in 3 John chapter 1 verses 9 to verses 11. I wrote to the church, but Diakonos, who loves to have the preeminence among them, does not receive us. Therefore, if I come, I will call to mind his deeds which he does, prating against us with malicious words. And not content with that, he himself does not receive the brethren, and forbids those who wish to, putting them out of the church. Beloved, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. He who does good is of God, but he who does evil has not seen God.
The Apostle John was not too complimentary about the elder. What evil did John talk about that Diakonos do? Diakonos took preeminence in the church. He decided who he would welcome and who he would not welcome in the church. Does your pastor exercise preeminence in the church, for instance, deciding who is and who is not allowed to minister in the church, or who is and who is not welcome in the church?